Welcome back to Kirklees Guitar School Podcast. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. George Loveridge. How are you doing today, George?
I'm really good, James. How are you?
I'm good. Has this week been a rock or a roll?
It has to be a rock. Right. Has to be a rock. So what happened? We're filming a day early, but we still had a pretty good week. So at the weekend, my little Herald's had a lot of sympathy. So without going too far, we've done an engine service. The old oil that came out was black and smelled of petrol. So he's had a service and he's sounding much better. So there we go.
Right.
But the other reason to rock is what we did on Sunday.
Okay, so we were at the Leeds Bradford Guitar Show on Sunday. We met a couple of you, notably Sean and Peter. So thank you for coming and saying hello. Yeah. And it's a bit bittersweet, really. I'll go on about mine a bit later on. But why was it a rock for you?
Just so many guitars. Like, I go to a lot of these sort of trade events. I've been to Synthfest, the synth equivalent, effectively. And there were I didn't expect there to be so many guitars layered everywhere, and everything was for sale, other than like a 1961 Strat or something that wasn't, but everything was for sale. Very, very busy. We both went in there. I actually took an empty guitar case in the boot, which is a dangerous game when you go to a guitar shop or anything like that. Yeah, there's nothing that really jumped out at us, but it was still a rock to see those of you who watch the show, and just to be so nerdy. Like, we're walking around going, oh, that's got the maple neck with the rosewood frets, and you were saying, oh, that R8's nice, isn't it? And I'm saying stuff that's going over your head. You're saying stuff that's going over my head. But in terms of rock, for me, I've been on the lookout for a pedal or a pedal board for a while. Came across two there. One brand spanking new. It was a Nux Cerberus, £300 straight from the guys at Nux. Or a local music shop that was there had one up for £180. I thought, I'm having that. Literally walked to the end of the hall, did another circle, and it was gone by the time I got back. Luckily, our friend eBay, I managed to pick one up from another local music shop. So I've sent you a picture. You'll be able to overlay it in the show. I'm going to go into that a bit later because I have no idea what it all does.
Yeah, let you use it for a little bit,
Yes.
and then we'll report on George's findings.
Yeah. So are you still rocking?
Yeah, it's been a rock, but yeah, it's been a bit of a weird all week, really. The universe just doesn't want me to seem to be at the studio this week, one way or another. So if you're waiting back from emails and things from it, I will get to it. We've just had sort of family illnesses and stuff like that. Nothing too dramatic, but it's just been a bit. I've had to be in dad mode quite a bit this week, which is fine. I was a bit disappointed with the Leeds Bradford Guitar Show, not necessarily in. There's plenty of stuff there. There was just nothing I wanted to buy.
It was quantity over quality, arguably.
There's quite a lot that I could have bought to move on, because I do a bit of that. I'll do a bit
of Mike Brewer with the dealer in.
Bit of Del Boy. Yeah, I do a bit of buying and selling. And I've been looking for a Super Strat. Now, I've got an Ibanez currently on the way to me.
Oh,
yeah.
That's news to me.
It's not exactly what I want, but it's at the money that I've given for it. I can quite easily sort of it's not the end of the world if it's not exactly what I want. I think what I really want is an RG550, I think.
Okay.
But at nearly £1,000, it's kind of like it's not in the budget.
So when you say Super Strat, you mean humbuckers, Floyd Rose, thin neck, wild colour scheme?
Yeah, if I was to get one, it would probably be the Desert Yellow, which is the one. I'll put a picture on screen for everybody, which is it's the most un-James-like guitar you've ever seen.
Well, yeah, we both played at the show a Jackson Super Strat, and it was a Jackson Medium Strat is what I'd call it. It was a Strat-looking guitar with twin humbuckers and a middle pickup and quite a harsh trem, not a Floyd Rose, and it just didn't do anything for either of us. We had a quick play.
And maybe there's an episode to follow on this. I might actually do a video on this whole kind of search I've been on. There's a guitar that I really want to buy that I shouldn't have sold years ago, and I'm looking to replace that guitar. Okay. And every guitar I look at, it's not that guitar. So anyway, to be continued. So what's on the agenda for this week, George?
So this week we're going neck deep. We're looking at scales. Finally, it's been asked about a lot, and everyone keeps tiptoeing around scales. So we're defining what a scale is in sort of easy terms, explain why they exist, and then introducing the pentatonic scale to start us off. We're then looking at our technical focus, scales to practice, major and minor, how to use them, how to practice them. Tone talk, we're going to look at some famous songs that have got scales in the riffs, because ultimately every riff you've ever heard has to use a scale.
It's a loaded question. Yeah. Everything you've ever heard comes from a scale, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And then you've got some questions loaded up from YouTube, hopefully.
Yes, I have, yep. And we're going to talk about tone as well, which is...
Very good point.
There's a couple of good, really good practice tips at the back end of the episode, which you're not going to want to miss out on. So let's start with neck deep then, George. What is a scale in easy terms? Why do us viewers? Why is it in their best interest to know scales?
So scale, by definition, is a series of musical pitches. That's where I'm leading the definition. We've spoken about it before. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's the way we order notes. Each scale, each key changes that order, and we need to know them because it's good to know. It's just good practice. And ultimately, I think the angle we're going with today is to help with your improvisation.
Yeah, and just overall, there's some of the bits I kind of want to throw in, but I'd sort of, when somebody asks me what a scale is, I say it's a collection of notes that work really well together. It's a family.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
When you are, when you're learning to read and write at school, you learn the alphabet. You need to learn the alphabet to make the words to spell C, A, and T for cat or guitar. Can't spell that one because it's got 5 letters in it. Has it got 5? Anyway, so it's a really good idea to learn the language, and it is the first port of call in the language. This is going to be addressed in the theory course, which is coming, by the way. I know lots of people are asking about it, but I just need to knock it out of the park. It's going to be awesome when it comes out, and you're all going to get a lot from it. So then that brings us on to the next question in the crib sheet. Why do scales exist? What are their function for us as guitar players?
For guitarists, my function is soloing.
Right, okay.
In composition as well. Big thing with scales. You can't go in blind. Now, sometimes, we've said this before in season 1, you get in films very romantically, someone comes up with a riff and they go, whoa, play that again. But actually, you need to know the scale of that chosen key.
Very few musicians just randomly plonk about
and strike gold.
And find a riff, you know. Or it might start, oh, those two sound nice together. Oh, a D and an E.
And they're like, right, okay, we're now in the key of A.
Yes, or the key of E in this case. But you immediately you can communicate to another musician, here are the notes that we're using. Now, you can veer off those. Yeah. You know, rules are meant to be broken, but you need to have that starting point of your scales. Now, we spend a lot of time talking about pentatonic scales, don't we? What is a pentatonic scale?
Pentatonic, you got 5 notes. Pentatonic, it's your perfect starting point. Very similar to your spider exercise in visual. Shall I just go straight ahead and go for it? Or do you want to fill in a bit more on the pentatonic scale?
And I think as well, most people will already know position 1 already, so maybe let's give them another that they can bolt onto that as well. But a pentatonic scale takes the strongest 5 notes out of a major or minor scale, because you have major and minor pentatonics. Yep. We're going to get into this a little bit later. And it takes the strongest and safest 5 notes. Now, guitarists like strong and safe because they can use those notes to improvise and create a guitar solo or a melody. One other thing I wanted to touch on before we actually go into the scales that you should be practicing and show you some scales is when I'm transcribing something, we both listen to music and can pick it out. We were both taught by the same person for quite a while after I went. I taught you first, didn't I? Yeah. And then I went off to university, and you got my old teacher, didn't you? And he would sit at his desk, listen to a record once, and be able to play the whole thing from top to bottom. His ear was that good. Yeah,
and that sort of rubbed off on us, didn't it?
And I think it was like, that's amazing. I want to do that. And that sort of encouraged us both to do it. So both me and George can hear a melody and pick it out of the guitar. And actually, I could play a guitar to a reasonable standard before I could ever read a note of music because I'd just learned it all by ear. But it wasn't just randomly plonking about. It was finding the scale, wasn't it? Yeah. You know what scale you're in. You've got the answers already. It's just a process of elimination.
Yeah. Do you want to show us, you said position 1, do you want to show us, say, 2, 3, whatever?
I was going to go 5. Now,
yes, okay.
Providing you're in this camp already, you will have come across the first position of the minor pentatonic in the key of A minor. Now, I'm not going to insult your intelligence and go through that because 9 out of 10 people will have looked at that. If you haven't, go on the Kirklees Guitar School YouTube channel. There's numerous lessons where I take you through that scale. It's really easy to find. first position of the A minor pentatonic. Rather than going up into the second position and doing the House of Blues extension, which you've coined, haven't you? A couple of people have been saying that to me this week.
Whoops.
We're going to go the other way. We're going to play. There's 5 positions of the pentatonic scale. Each 5 of the notes that you play, there's a scale built off each degree. I'll put a link in the show notes. There's a video where I take you through all 5 positions of the pentatonic scale if you want to learn them. But I'm just going to show you position 5 now. So we're going to start between the 3rd and the 5th fret of the low E string. Fret 3, fret 5. That's a G and an A. I'm then going to move down to the A string and I'm going to play the 3rd fret and the 5th fret again. So that's a C and that's a D. I'm then going to break out of that formation, go into the D string, and I'm going to press the 2nd fret, and then I'm going to press the 5th fret again. So far, 3 strings, 3, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5. Now, you can get away with using your index and your middle finger. If you're struggling with a stretch between the 2nd fret and the 5th fret, by all means, use your pinky. Moving on to the G string, we're going to play this A note on the 2nd fret of the G string, followed by the 5th fret again. And then on the D and the high E strings, we're going to play fret 3, fret 5, fret 3, fret 5. So can you see the shape mirrors itself? The top of it is identical to the bottom of it. But, not often are these shapes symmetrical.
No, it's a nice pattern that you can see visually, which really helps in terms of remembering it.
So I could use that to create a melody. If I've learned that scale, I could make my own melody up. Something along those lines.
Yeah, that's getting cheeky, that one.
Could you just give me a vamp on a... Yeah... Now, that's called improvising. I was improvising.
I was about to say, if you're doing a melody, you want it to repeat, you want to find an idea, a hook.
Yeah,
just keep going.
I mean, I've just pulled that out of thin air. I ain't sort of made any, I ain't sort of prepared for that at all. But if I was to, so that's melody, a riff you recognise. But improvisation means taking those notes of the scale, and I'm essentially making it up as I go along.
Yes.
Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, your improv, you need to... We say... Right, there's 2 schools of thought here, massively. We say we make it up, but then we also say, we've said it on the show, you have a bag of licks. Initially, you need to know, say if we're taking that position 5, you need to know those notes off by heart, because then you know what you can use, what you're allowed to use. Cooking analogy coming up. You've got a list of ingredients in front of you. I think you do this on MasterChef sometimes. List of ingredients, make what you want with those ingredients. That's essentially what it is. We're all given the same tools to work with, but then see what you come up. It's like if we were given Play-Doh, we would both make 2 different things from the same material. Does that make sense? And that's what improvisation is. You can take those notes. It's like, right, you're only allowed to use them. I know you said rules can be broken, so you can come out of them a bit. And then you make your notes from there.
So taking the A minor pentatonic, I'm just going to play an A minor chord. I'm going to do what's called a vamp. When you vamp on a chord, you just sit on one chord for quite some time. Could you give us some improvisation using the minor pentatonic, please?
Certainly.
You'll have to forgive us for tuning issues today, guys. It's very wet and miserable and cold out there today.
Put it politely, it's throwing it down. I won't go too far into that. But essentially what I did there, I took that position 1 and chucked in a couple of techniques that I know, which is a big thing. A lot of people, when they start improvising, they go, you know how to do vibrato from that song. You know how to bend from that song. Steal it.
And I think we do need to do a follow-up episode on improvising. I mean, I've done a lot of lessons around this that's helped a lot of people, but I think actually having your input as well. And
I don't know why you want that, but yeah.
So if you're more interested in the sort of improvising aspect of it, we will cover that in a later episode, just so this one's not 4 hours long. But also, the whole question started. Was it Paul's face? Was it?
Yes, Paul? It scales. I remember the comment. It was scales. Where, when, where do I start?
So that's what we're trying to ascertain. So that's what we're trying to answer, and then in another episode we'll talk about improvisation, because that's a whole can of worms.
This is your start. Learn the scale, get comfortable on those notes, and then you can.
So what are the sort of 4 types of scale any sort of aspiring guitar player should look into initially?
Okay. I'll give you 2.
Okay.
Your major and your minor.
Okay.
That's you. Now you've got pentatonics, but major, like an A minor scale, A major scale. Those are your first 2 ports of call.
If I play the major scale, can you play the minor scale for me? So this is the major scale. We're in the key of A today. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Yeah.
Well, that was minor
pentatonic. See, that's the thing where you like, where are we going? Oh, no, go on. That's the thing, they all cross over. Yeah. That's the thing, in my improv, I'm using that scale all the time, those extra notes. But on demand, it's been a while, you sort of forget where they go. Well, you might not.
We'll talk about practice in a second. Yeah. But bearing in mind, I've done this for over 20 years now, and it's like burned into the back of my retinas, these 5 positions, because I use them all the time. I've spent a bit of time going through the 3-note string stuff recently, which is kicking my backside. But 9 out of 10 things that I play are in these shapes, and it's just like a carpenter opening his box of tools. He knows he should do, knows where everything is, you know? Yeah. So you have a major scale and a minor scale, which will help you play over a major chord or a minor key or a major key. And then you have what's called pentatonics, which are a subset of scales, which, as we've said before, just pick the 5 strongest notes that are the 5 strongest notes. Now, what do I mean by strongest notes, George?
We start with the first 5 degrees of that scale.
Okay.
It's like your A.
Yeah.
So the A minor pentatonic, A, C.
Well, actually, that's the third degree. Of the scale.
Yeah.
So minor pentatonic. Let's do major first.
Okay, go on.
Just because that's the way it should be taught for reasons we'll go into later. So if I take 1 octave of the major scale, I'll put this on screen for you now. Okay. So I'm going to play. All of these are in the key of A, by the way. So I'm going to play the 5th fret of the low E string, followed by the 7th fret. I'm going to go to the D string, and I'm going to play. A string. I'm going to play the 4th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. I'm then going to go down a string. I'm going to play the 4th fret, 6th fret, 7th fret. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp,
A again. Back to your octave.
Okay? That's the major scale. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign a number to each of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, the major pentatonic, when we say some notes are stronger than others, and what I mean is harmonically some notes play nicely with other chords in the key better than others. So a pentatonic scale's function is to remove any risk whatsoever.
Yeah.
You could play any note in the pentatonic scale over any chord in the A major key, and it would sound just fine and dandy. But the other 2 notes that we subtract, such as the 4th degree and the 7th degree, can you hear already?
A bit of a clash. Yeah.
And it's knowing where to put those, and that's what a lot of tutors online will try and labour on, and I don't feel like they explain it enough. You need to learn how to play safe first. When you're teaching a child how to ride a bicycle, you put training wheels on, don't you? Yeah?
Very true, yeah.
That's what we're trying to do with you. So the pentatonics, the more time you spend there in that comfort, the less you're going to fall off when the training wheels do eventually come off. So for a major scale, you've got root, fingers or notes. I'm all a bit scattered today, George.
We're both first
second,
finger.
Third, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. I'm now on screen. I'm going to flip to the major pentatonic.
So it just takes a few out.
It's a much more direct sound. Could you just give me a vamp on an A major chord? So if I play the major scale, sounds okay. I'm going to play the pentatonic now.
Different vibe, totally.
Much more direct. Okay? So let's quickly take you through the minor scale equivalent, because you should be practicing. Rather than going, right, I need to learn all 5 positions of the major and 5 positions of the... And we'll talk about practice in a second. Just take these 2 scales that I've given you, get them under your fingers, and then we'll talk about how to go on from there. So the minor scale in A minor is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back to A. Really easy to remember. No sharps or flats. So that's on the low E string, it's 5, 7, 8. A string, 5, 7, 8. And on the D string, 5 and 7. And it takes you back to the octave. To make that a pentatonic scale, it's not the same. We don't choose the same degrees, because the major scale has 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 3, 4, 5, 7. Okay, so it chooses different notes, and that's because of the way that the harmony all intersects. So I'm actually cutting out the second and the second and the sixth degrees out of that. So you give me an A minor this time.
Yeah.
I'll start with the minor scale.
But then
Bit Carlos Santana a bit.
Smooth.
You know?
Yeah.
It's cool. Minor pentatonic, Josh. Throw a bend in there just to be fancy.
My view on this is that we hear, why do we need to learn all these scales? And we've got this as a bullet point. Why? Initially, it's going to give you different flavours. So you heard there from both of James's examples that one was, you say, direct. I think that's a really good way, your pentatonic. But then your minor and natural minor, harmonic minor, it gives you different feels to go about it. Just from like adding one note sometimes. Like if you just play an A minor for me, if I had the harmonic minor in from the... Just one note.
And how we say rules are meant to be broken, George is breaking the rules.
I'm going out of it.
But you need to learn the rules of the game before you can learn to kind of...
Yeah, that's a really good
start
point.
putting it all together in a funny order and experimenting with it. Okay? Now, hopefully that's come across for us viewers today, that the scales are a tool, and just breaking down a little bit of that terminology. Now, assuming you're in Paul's position, and you're practicing scales for the first time, the internet has been barking at you that scales are important. Where should he start?
A minor pentatonic.
Yes.
That's my first part of call.
I would, in the sort of lineage of things that I teach a student, I'll teach them the first position of the minor pentatonic scale. I'll teach them the first position of the major pentatonic scale. Then I'll teach them the first position of the major scale. Then the first position of the of the minor scale. So you have one of each.
Yeah.
And until a student can play those on command and be able to separate them, because you're right, if I play all of them in a row, major pentatonic, minor pentatonic, they need to be able to just sort of pull it out instantly, and then we go, right, okay, probably from that point, I'd look at all 5 positions of the minor pentatonic to start with.
You're putting too much on your plate if you're thinking, right, I've heard there's 5 positions, let me do all of them. I've just picked up a student recently and he said, I want to learn all 5. Well, here's number 2. See you next week.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're not going to remember them.
No. And it's like trying to drink out of a fire hose.
Yeah.
Yeah? Little bit at a time. Don't you as adults that come to see us, because most of our roster now is currently adults. We're teaching a lot of adults at the minute. they're all so keen, and I absolutely love it. They're all so keen and really, really want it, and I just wish that they'd just like take that energy rather than going, I need to learn everything. Instead of that, it's I need to master that.
Yeah, just hyper focus on that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got into so much trouble recently teaching people how to play the solo for Paranoid, and they're on like the 6th week of playing it now, and spouses are getting upset by the sounds.
Yeah, I said someone, just keep going with your wishing well. He said, yeah, and I'll bring you the divorce papers to witness, to sign.
Get some headphones.
Yeah,
maybe alongside that. So, final thing that I want to kind of finish this with today, George, is how should you practice your scales? If we're saying go away and learn this, what's the optimal way to get?
Depends what sort of way, how you practice. Initially, as you said, you want to be able to recall the scales. You want to be able to sit at home. You just want to sit and go up and down, up and down, up and down. That's your cognitive exercise, I think, just to recall it up and down. Next step for me, I play it in somewhere else on the fretboard. I don't know if that's going to muddy the water a little bit, but a lot of people say, right, great, I've learnt A minor pentatonic. Oh my God, there's 12 other frets to do, 11 other frets. Well, it's the same stuff.
Yeah, it's a movable shape, isn't it?
And
so
it's different.
You move that around.
Yeah, so if you play it on the A minor pentatonic on A, that's fine. But if you take it to F, it's different gaps. Whereas you take it up to 10 in D, the gaps change again. So that's my second port of call. You could then always do it with a metronome to improve your timing. So if there's a clip, if you've got your little metronome, great alternate picking exercise as well.
Or you could do it as quavers.
You little bugger, thank you. Yeah.
Or semi-quavers.
Yes.
So yeah, the world, you can sort of make this as hard or as, sort of, you need to scale it to where you're at, and really without having you as a student sat in front of us, it's quite hard to prescribe exactly what you need. But that's kind of what that's roughly on the lines of what we'd get you doing here at the studio. Final thing I want to sort of talk about this before we take some questions from the audience.
Well, are you going to mention the songs that use them?
Yes, we can do. Okay. Cool. Yeah, well, good shout. Is the tone of your guitar for practicing this. Now, I'm not going to do it because we're on set and it'll just completely screw everything up later on. But if you've got the heaviest kind of Metallica JCM 800, yeah, and you're practicing your scales, you're probably not going to be able to hear it if you're doing anything wrong.
Oh, it's going to sound messy.
It's just going to sound like mush.
I remember practicing the Sweet Child of Mine riff with the most gainy amp ever, and my mum just going, could you maybe just turn it down? Because you're going... It's like, no, turn it off and take your time through it. Clean. Always practice clean. Always practice clean.
Yes, and bearing in mind, we all have the katanas now and all these sort of wonderful toys, but the quality of what you're putting into the amplifier will be 10x coming out of the amplifier. But that also means if you're putting crap into it, crap will come out of it.
Yeah, so I mentioned that student we're doing Wishing Well. One of many, to be honest. We've done it clean for like 3 lessons. The other day I said, just knock the katana into crunch. And wow.
Yeah.
It's just, rather than it being crunched straight away, so a lot of people go, oh, we're playing Guns N' Roses, I'll just dial in some gain. No, learn it clean first.
Well, and can you... I'm playing that scale. Every note is nice and clear and crisp. I'm doing down and up picking. I'm using more than one finger. But if a student comes in... I might miss that with some distortion.
With a bit of gain, yeah, easily.
And it's just the quality control part of it. I was I was practicing a solo for one of the lessons, and I put it on the Facebook group because when I'm working through things, I'll put a little kind of teaser clip on the Facebook group and go, I'm working on this, would you like a lesson on this? And somebody had said, it sounds loads better with loads more distortion, put on some fuzz or something. I'm like, yeah, but I can't hear my mistakes.
Yeah.
I know it sounds a little bit ridiculous practicing the solo for War Pigs. Clean. But actually, I need to make sure I'm playing all those notes perfectly before I pile all the overdrive. And a lot of people joke that they hide behind that and it's a way of masking it. Whereas, actually, you should be doing it properly.
I've been trying to nail some extreme stuff recently, and there's a line that goes. But doing that with gain, it's so easy to just play it, and you're like, oh yeah, I've got it. But then by playing it clean, you can hear all the idiosyncrasies. If I put some gain on, yeah, I've done it, but I haven't. You just
and it all depends how far you want to go down this as well. As somebody who strives for excellence in a lot of the stuff that I do, it'll eat me alive if I know that it's not right. So okay. So what about some final thing then? What about some famous songs and riffs based on pentatonic ideas? That's minor scale.
Minor scale. All right, go on, what have you pentatonic? I knew, well, it's a scale, isn't it? It's the go-to, other than my girl.
Based on pentatonic scales.
Oh, right, yeah, fair enough.
Pentatonic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course, yeah.
Pentatonic again.
I feel Fine's got a little bit of pentatonic in it. No, it comes out of it. Okay.
Yeah,
it's more of a D chord. Really, it's an arpeggio.
I hadn't thought about that song for years. Yeah.
Mike, yeah, it's going on the bingo sheet.
There's so much. Like when I've played all three of those riffs, I'm envisioning and visualizing the pentatonic scale over the top over my fretboard there because it's giving you the answer. Go on, what's another one? Oh, what key are you in?
E. I was in the
Smoke on the Water's in G. No, that's why.
Yeah, other deep. No, that's not Wishing Well, but even Wishing Well.
Yeah, E minor pentatonic.
That's literally do it in B flat. You got the juices flowing now.
So hopefully that's sort of giving you all a kind of short synopsis on why pentatonic scales are important, what we can do with them, and why you should learn them. That if you don't learn them now, while you're super duper keen, it's going to be a massive pain in the neck later on when you've come across all this stuff that you've got to learn. Start early and get in now.
Definitely.
Advise. Okay?
Yeah.
Right, I've done it again, George.
Should we have a little cut while you get your phone?
Well, I don't think we should. I think we're just...
talk amongst yourselves while James...
Do you know any jokes?
No, not for this show. Not for this show, anyway. Maybe the live show we can let loose a little bit more in terms of that sort of thing. Don't knock your microphone this week either. We don't want that, yeah. But yeah, today I am actually using
my microphone and snap my headstock at the same time. Maybe we might actually get some views then.
Yeah, today I have been using... You probably heard these little clicks. I am using that aforementioned Nux Cerberus. As I said, next week, or maybe another week, I'll delve into it a little bit more, but I'm just, learning it for today. So are you loading up from questions from last week's show?
Yes, right. So Denby Music posted on the last episode, after using many sus2 and sus4 chord progressions in my originals, I was delighted to discover the major seventh. So I'm glad we could help you with that. David actually comes to see us. Comes to see Andrew for some lessons off the back of discovering us online. So yeah, thanks for your continued support, David. And I'm glad that because he likes to write his own songs and stuff. So hopefully we're giving him lots of fodder for new endeavours. Holman Hunter says, another great show, guys. I was interested in what you said about the micro movements. These are things that I've hardly ever seen explained. As a beginner, I've put my fingers on the strings in a naive or inefficient way, which sometimes makes it very difficult to move into the next position. For example, I first tried it in Pink Floyd's Run Like Hell. It's played by barring the high E and B strings at the 10th fret. If I try and do this, whenever I do, I can't fret the 11 on the G. So what's the micro movement I need? Sorry to be long-winded. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah, so I actually responded to this and we've had a little chat. Song in question... Sorry, I'll do that again. I can't remember it exactly off the top of my head. That's why you should practice clean, because you can't hear when it goes wrong. That's the chord you're mentioning. It's a D. What I call the Hendrix chord. Now, for a lot of players, especially if there's arthritis knocking at the door, that's really difficult. He was just trying to play it like these two. But actually, if you start with your ring finger on the root, that micro movement, it's going to be a lot easier to bar rather than just doing that sort of thing.
So I wanted to pull that. I wanted to sort of flag that comment because it's not specific. Like, I think we should do an episode on what I call the finger per fret rule.
Yes, massive.
Which is, The one lesson I deliver consistently that yields light bulb moments for anybody of any age or any ability is I've sort of come up with over the years a sort of way of thinking about how to navigate around the fretboard in what I call like a 4-fret radius, and how to move around the neck, particularly if you're playing something and then have to shoot up to another end of the neck. Where do you position your fingers and what are you thinking about this? So actually, I was going to mention it to you off camera beforehand. Okay. Definitely in this next kind of brainstorming session for episodes. I think an episode on that. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but oftentimes the things that aren't the most exciting in the world are often the things that you need to practice. So I wanted to just kind of flag that to make sure that we had the discussion on camera so it actually happens. The finger per fret rule, we'll do an episode on it, and anybody that's working on kind of intricate melodies and stuff, it's going to be really helpful. Right then, David says another great episode, guys. Really looking forward to the theory series, and it's got to be gold hardware on black guitars. See, David's on my team for this one. George, please keep us updated on the Triumph, which
less broken.
It's less broken, but still, we'll keep you posted on it. You've really struck a chord with everybody there. There's
people just like rusty old British cars. I think it's having taken it to lots of shows and stuff. It is. My dad used to have one of them. My mate used to have one of them, and you just sort of capture something in the same way that like you have to think that design. This is slightly different, but these have been around a long time.
Yeah.
And then everyone complains when Gibson goes, "Here's the new Gibson SG figured."
Yeah,
and like there's no scratch plate on it, or it's upside down. Everyone goes, "Oh, that's disgusting."
But even like you go back to cars, like we both like rusty cars, but you like cars, I like 4x4s. People get in my car and like, oh, it's not very comfortable in it. It's kind of like it's a design from 1948 that they made until 2016. It's Land Rover, by the way, and I just kind of think like. You get this cult following of people. So it's cool that we've got that bit of a crossover.
See, I'm the other way around. I look at old Jags and go, that was 60 grand back in 2003. It's mine for 1,500 quid. Whoa.
Yeah, and then that's $6 grand of repair bills over the next 12 months.
Another question? Perhaps. Is that
just final one.
Yeah.
Peter Reynolds says it just keeps getting better and better. See you on Sunday. We saw Peter and his wife. Yeah,
so and she used to play in bands. Really cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, he started learning from her, and she's sort of looking around like us going, oh, custom shop, sort of batting off the other guitars.
It's really cool. And what do you reckon we should get a stand next time?
Find out how much they are. And you say you're not quite Mike Brewer doing Wheeler Dealers, but you've flogged us. If you can get a bit of stock up, because that was the thing at that show. It wasn't come and talk to us about lessons. Come and talk to us about our new. Everything was for sale. Mm-hmm. So it depends what they're letting in. Yeah, but I think it'd be worth it just to speak to people. It is we did that post in the group ages ago. We have people literally worldwide, as we know. Mm-hmm. It might be worth it if we can swallow the however much it is for a stand. I think it'd be quite good.
I'll send an email. To be continued. Right then. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next week. Are you starting or am I?
I can start, yeah, and I'll take the passing bend if you want. So we're going to use these scales in this.
What scale are we using, George?
Blues scale.
Okay.
I'm taking some pentatonic.
Yeah.
And I'm going to chuck in some major with the minor. I'm breaking some rules.
Right.
Because I DJ, DG, AF.
Very good. Right. See you next week, folks. Thank you so much.
Up to you.
We did it again. We both thought we were soloing.